Now this level takes place at a series of bridges, so we're going to have to make jumps over gaps of water. But then when we get later on in the stage, we'll get to ride our second of our vehicles in the game. We'll get to ride a water ski. Watch out for the pogo stick guys, and use the fish when they jump out of the water in order to boost yourself up in the air to make it over the gaps. Now after only a few jumps, you'll make it to the water ski part, which pretty much works exactly like the scooter part did. Move up and down and jump over all the obstacles that come at you. Now the main obstacle in this part is those shadows that move across the water, and when they reach the far right, fish jump out of them. Now you'll easily be able to see both of the fish that come at you, so you'll be able to move up or down to avoid them. When you reach the end of the area, you jump off the water ski, and now we're on a beach area. Move to the right a little bit, and it's time for our next boss battle, which is a giant walking bulldog. Now unlike the other bosses in the game, you can hit him at all times. He spews out projectiles of little tiny dogs that come at you, but you can always keep delivering hits to him no matter what. Now thankfully it only takes a few hits to take him out, and then we move on to the final stage of the game. But before we can get there, we're going to have to do another one of the bonus games. Now this bonus game works exactly the same as the first one. You want to stack the pizzas up when you got a couple on your plate, launch them into the oven to make sure that you guarantee that you have them. Remember, if you get too many stacked up on one another, they'll just fall off the plate and you won't get any points for them. Now, if for some reason you do lose track of which pizzas you've collected and how many you put in the oven already, there is a nice counter at the bottom. Every time you throw pizzas into the oven, the counter moves up with the amount you threw in there, so you know how many you threw in there. Once the game is complete, you can see obviously I missed a couple this time, but oh well, get a couple points and now move on to the final level of the game. Now, the beginning of this stage may seem a little bit like Donkey Kong. Move up the stairs as you travel upwards, jump over the barrels. Then you start reaching some movable platforms. Be careful of the barrels that will fall on your head as you move back and forth between those moving platforms. Travel up to the elevator and enter in. Now we have a series of gears that we're going to have to move on. Similar to any type of gear we've seen in games such as Castlevania, when they spin you around when you jump on them, so be careful of them. You can jump on the kind of spikes coming out of the wall in order to boost you up farther. They're not going to hurt you when you jump on them. Now when you enter this door, move a little bit to the right, and it's time for the final boss battle. Now being the final boss, obviously he's going to be the toughest. When he throws out his fist at you, when he moves to the left side of the screen at the beginning of the battle, knock him back at him with your pan to do damage. When he comes back to the left, he's going to move upwards, and then fire one diagonally at you, so be prepared to hit that one back at him as well. So that's 3 hits. You're going to have to hit him 6 times, so now he's going to move back and forth. He's going to do a few different things. He's going to bounce his head around, easily duck underneath of it when it comes back, go underneath of it again, or jump over it to avoid it. When he moves back to the right, and then he'll come back to the left, and we'll actually begin the pattern over again. He'll fire the fist out, make sure to knock them both back at him, so now we've hit him 5 times. He'll go to the right, and then come back to the left. Deliver the final blast to him, and you have defeated him. It reveals that it was actually Mick inside the robot. And now we have completed Pizza Pop. So, with the final boss defeated, we move on to our ending, and we see our main character, with his girlfriend Betty, walking towards the jewelry store, where he can now afford to buy the ring. But, unfortunately, it's sold out. So, of course, our main hero is very distraught and unhappy that he couldn't buy the ring for his girlfriend. Then Nick drives by on a scooter, throws him a bouquet of flowers, which I guess to our main character is good enough for his girlfriend. He couldn't afford to buy the $10,000 ring, but instead he gives her a bouquet of flowers that will die in a week. Yeah, I say that trades off pretty nicely. But with our main character jumping in the air, we now see the credit scroll across the bottom, which will tell us our characters, and then move on to the actual credits of the people that worked on the game. Now, as our main character just kind of floats there forever as the credits scroll by, you could pretty much argue that the credits are longer than half of the game. That's how long they take to slowly scroll by as we've now reached the actual staff, as we see each position and then the person that that's associated with. Now, Pizza Pop was a pretty good platformer. It may be really short, but that's unfortunately just a problem with a lot of the NES titles, that they were pretty short, especially some of the easier platformers. I wish the bosses were a little bit more challenging, or the level design was a little bit more challenging, but it had some neat stuff in there that made it a pretty decent game. Now, as the credits finish up, the special thanks category ends up. We see presented by Jaleco, and then it's going to fade out and move into the end screen. So there we have our end screen, and with that, that's going to wrap up another edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.